This is the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. In fact, it is a Sinclair ZX Spectrum. There are many like it, but this one is mine, or rather, one of mine. Hello, I'm Stephen Goodwin, and I'm here to talk about this machine, which was designed in Cambridge, England, manufactured in Dundee, Scotland, and during its lifetime in the early 80s sold over 5 million units. The original machine was released on the 23rd of April 1982 by Sinclair Research Limited. It came in a 16K and a 48K version, although over the years they changed the circuit board several times, replaced the keyboard and added a built-in cassette player and disk drive with the ZX Spectrum Plus 2 and Plus 3 respectively. They also increased the memory to 128K, which at the time seemed enormous. This particular model is the 48K. It has a width of 233mm, a depth of 144 and a height of 30. On the base there is a speaker, and the speaker grille here. Although speaker is too grandiose a term, it is merely a piezoelectric buzzer. The keyboard is of a unique design, with 40 rubber keys, although it does feel like dead flesh. Each key is capable of sending multiple different messages to the computer. As you'll see on each key, it has at least 5 different options. We'll come to that later. Let us instead focus on the back, where the connectors are. First up is the power connector. It is a 5.5 hollow plug with a 2.5mm inner diameter. It feeds 9 volt into the machine, with the ground in the centre pin and 9 volts on the outer shaft. This comes from a custom power supply that converts mains power from 240 AC 50 Hz into the necessary 9 volts, allowing the Spectrum to draw a maximum 1.4 amps. The edge connector worked like a USB does nowadays, allowing you to add extra hardware to your Spectrum. However, unlike a USB, the computer would usually crash if you plugged or unplugged anything into the edge connector whilst either the computer or the extra device was switched on. This is because the edge connector links directly to the silicon chips inside, and chips don't like that sort of thing. One confusion with the edge connector is that it has 2 sides, top and bottom. These sides are called A and B respectively, but only on issue 1 and issue 2 Spectrums. Issue 3 called the top side B instead. So check carefully, as misconnecting them will probably destroy either your peripheral, your computer, or both. There are 2 audio ports, both 3.5mm mono jack sockets, used for storing programs. These programs will go onto a data cassette, also known as a compact cassette, and will be stored at 1500 baud. Previously, Sinclair machines had used these jack plugs and these jack sockets for the power connector as well, but it was inevitable that this would change when users accidentally plugged the power into the audio socket and permanently damaged their computer. And finally, the TV. Since most TVs don't have analog tuning circuits, you'll either need to plug your Spectrum into a video cassette recorder or use a custom RF modulator. This is because the signal from here is an RF or UHF signal, which is why you need an aerial lead such as this. If you do have an old analog TV, then tuning it to UHF channel 36, you should be good to go. You might also notice some things that aren't along the edge, like an on-off button or a reset button. These were both omitted for costs, as they are on the modern day Raspberry Pi. Now let's focus back on the keyboard. When the machine boots up, you can press any key, such as Enter, to get yourself a cursor. Now looking at the keyboard, you'll notice each key has a different number of words on it. Each word is called a symbol or token. Which token the computer understands is controlled by the cursor on screen. With the K cursor, as we have now, the computer is waiting for you to enter a keyword, so whichever key you press, you'll get the keyword displayed on that button. So in Sinclair Basic, the word print doesn't need to be typed with 5 keys, P, R, I, N and T, but can be entered with just 1, P. Notice the cursor now changes to an L. This stands for letter, meaning you can enter any letter or number into the computer. So let's print 42, the meaning of life, the universe and everything, by pressing 4 and then 2. To instruct the computer we've finished writing our instruction, we sent it away by pressing enter. This is common on most microcomputers of the period, although it's also called return, new line, or even carriage return. Done. Let's try that again. But this time, let's ask it to print something else, a message. Messages are called text strings, and text strings need to be enclosed by a set of double quotes. These are printed in red on the P key. So we press the symbol shift key down, which is also red, and whilst that key is pressed, we press P, and we get our double quotes. We can now write our message. The letters will come out in lowercase normally, unless we press caps shift, which is on the bottom left of the keyboard, at which point each letter comes out as a capital. To close the string, we need the double quotes again, so press and hold the red symbol shift key, followed by P, and we get our closing set of double quotes. And there it is. So we've told the computer what to do, we just need to press enter to tell it to go away and do it, and there we have our message. You'll also notice there are keywords above and below the keys, written in green and red. These need extended mode. Let's do print again, and this time we'll use pi, which is in green on the M key. We start by pressing and holding down symbol shift, and whilst that's down, press shift. This turns the cursor into E. We can now press any of the keys and the green word above the key will appear. In this case we press M to get pi. To access the words below the key, written in red, we need the extended mode again. So let's go print, press and hold symbol shift, followed by shift. But this time we press and hold shift again whilst pressing the key, and there we have inverse, the red word on the M key. So far we've told the computer what to do, and it does it once. For the computer to do it several times, we need to place these instructions that we've written previously into a program. On ZX Spectrum, this works by giving the instruction a line number. So instead of printing I am cool, we write 10, print I am cool. So let's type that in. 10, print, which only needs the P key, symbol shift P, shift and I am cool, followed by symbol shift P again, and we hit enter. Even though we had a K cursor key at the beginning, we can still type line numbers. That's because, as you'll notice, there are no keywords on the number keys. You'll also notice that when we pressed enter, the line of program code went to the top of the screen. This shows us that it's been entered into the program memory of the computer. So, let us add another line number. This will be line 20. Now, we started with the line 10 just because, conventionally speaking, that's the number we start with. We'll then go to 20. This is because if we miss out a line here and there, we can insert it into line 11, 12, 13, and so on. So for line 20, we will say 20 go to 10, which will repeat that last instruction. It's known as a control flow command. And that's the program done. Now we just need to tell the computer it needs to run. And there's an instruction on the R key for that called run. Since this is not part of the program, we don't need a line number. So we just find run on the keyboard and hit enter. And there you have it. That's our short lesson on how to program the Sinclair ZX Spectrum with some basic commands. You can do the same with listings from books or magazines. Have fun. Bye for now.